Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Thursday's Market Situation Report, or SITREP, here at Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz. We'll get into the whole why is the market bouncing right now on hopes in a couple minutes. But quick update, we're going to be doing our Analyze the Trades and weekly debrief this morning at 11 a.m. So we're not doing it at 1 p.m. We've got some hurricane prep to do, and then I'm blasting out of South Florida here up to New Jersey and New York for the 8-ship flyby of the Statue of Liberty for Labor Day. We're also canceling the full throttle brief for tonight, obviously. So we'll reschedule that, just add it on to the end of the full throttle training. So I already sent out today's trade, looking to try and leg into an iron condor on CSX for tomorrow. And we'll cover that as well. So make sure you're in about half an hour, you're in the Analyze Your Trade and Debrief at 11 a.m. and then full throttle for tonight is canceled. So let's always keep the eye on the ball here, folks. This isn't about a trade war or anything like that. As I said countless times, any trade agreement with China is not going to be worth the paper it's printed on. It's just not. They're not going to stop stealing our stuff. They're not going to stop subsidizing their companies. It's just ridiculous. So we had another freedom of navigation operation. We had one of our guided missile destroyers sail within 12 miles of Fiery Cross and Mischief Reefs. You know what these two things are? These are Barack Hussein Obama's failure. These are big artificial islands that, they were atolls or at low tide, they're sticking out a bunch of rocks. The Chinese sailed dirt from China, dumped it on there, built runways, and called them China. Yeah, I called them what? Fixed aircraft carriers. Steve Bannon calls them stationary aircraft carriers in the Spratly Islands. So this is the first time an American warship had challenged two Chinese military outposts at once in a freedom of navigation operation. So this is, they dumped these things and said, hey, this is new China. We've essentially extended our border 600 miles into the Pacific. Remember Barack Hussein Obama, folks? Remember that guy? I'm pulling our troops out of Iraq. We're going to pivot to Asia. We're going to pivot to China. He pulled the troops out of Iraq, did nothing, and then ISIS sprung up in Iraq that we had to clean up that shit show. So nice job, Barack. Anyway, so this is what this is about. It is not about a trade war, folks. It's about a potential real war. Keep your eye on the ball here. So hopes, stocks rise on hopes of a trade deal. Who cares? At the end of the day, it's not going to mean a thing. All right, so this is the other thing going on right now. I just saw a breaking news story and got all my TVs up here about troops. There's additional troops moving into Shenzhen, north of Hong Kong. In that big stadium, they've been practicing to crack skulls, and apparently another brigade, battalion, whatever they call it, just showed up. So they have, and the Chinese government, the Hong Kong government, which is one and the same, canceled a permit for them to be able to protest. So here we go again. Remember, these protests happen on the weekends, and we got a weekend coming up. So as we're focusing on a hurricane down here, and and we're looking at trade, don't forget about this. If they go in there and crack skulls, the potential to get a trade deal done will be zero. Okay, so Dow was, opened up positive, up 300 points. Now we've given about 50 points of that back off the Dow. Why? Because there's a couple maybe potential half-soothing words doesn't mean this thing's even close to being resolved, right? So China said it's willing to resolve this trade war with a calm attitude and hints it won't retaliate for now. Okay, here's the exact sentence. We firmly reject an escalation of the trade war and are willing to negotiate and collaborate in order to solve this problem with calm attitude, right? They said, hey, the two sides have maintained effective communication, but they still said that, we didn't call. Of course, there's been discussions going on, folks. The president was just on a Fox radio show and says, talks are going to resume today at a different level. I have no idea what the hell that means. So, like in the old days, was it just kind of the lower lieutenant junior grades talking, and now Mnuchin and Lighthizer are talking? We don't know. That's the problem with negotiating in public here, is that the president, kind of is full open on stuff and then full closed, and on the stuff where he's full closed on, he looks like he's lying, which doesn't help kind of everybody's attitude. So this is interesting. Whenever we see these headlines in the journal, we kind of chuckle. U.S. stocks open higher on what? Hopes. we could be this time tomorrow, U.S. stocks crash on fears of trade war or escalation or something like that. So remember, as we've predicted and we've nailed for the entire month of August, I said this is what's going to be going on. The market doesn't. This is the S&P 500. That's the 50-day moving average. That's the 200-day moving average, and the market don't like hanging out between these two, right? The algos, until they become self-aware and kill all of us, don't know how to trade in here, and neither do most humans, because these tend to act as magnets. The market wants to get pulled up or down to them. And right now, as you can see, we're obviously in a rally day today, but still take a look at the tops here. Lower highs and lower lows is not a bullish sentiment here. So every one of these rips I've told you to sell into, and I'd sell into this one. Why? What if, we get some good talks today and, we stay up here? Well, folks, Hong Kong is this weekend. Again, protest over the weekend. It looks like the Chinese are escalating them. And good on the Chinese, not as a human being, I'm saying good on the Chinese if they're kind of doing the whole, hey, calm attitude, maybe we won't raise tariffs right now, as they steamroll into Hong Kong and smash people's skulls. Then what's the president going to do? Crap. Is he going to fall for it? Remember, he fell for this at the beginning. He's, Hong Kong's part of China. They can deal with it. Xi doesn't need my advice. And I ripped him to shreds. Absolute failure of leadership. Then he came back a little bit and, kind of reclaimed the mantle of being the leader of the free world. So now what does he do? Here's the other interesting thing we got to bring up right now. So we had some macroeconomic data today. Q2 GDP revised lower. Big surge in personal spending. So what recession, folks? Really, I get GDP isn't super en fuego, right? This is pretty damn good, right? GDP is pretty damn good. Personal spending. Elizabeth Warren and all these other freak shows running around out there trying to scare us into a recession. Consumer spending has been on fire. Look at all the results recently. Target, even Tiffany's. I mean, the consumer ain't dead, and there ain't no recession coming anytime soon. So this, a little slowdown in the GDP is okay. Personal spending being good is great. Here's what I'm getting at. What's the Fed going to do now in a couple weeks? If Donald Trump and the Chinese are making nice a little bit on trade, why would the Fed cut? So now we're in this weird position of, hey, we just had a rally on maybe we're not going to kill each other. And that means the Fed probably won't cut rates. We talked last Friday when I was up in Vermont. 3 Fed lieutenants said what? We shouldn't have cut interest rates. So why are we doing this? We shouldn't be. Ooh, boy. And we saw this week what? Bill Dudley. Wow. Bill Dudley, ladies and gentlemen, coming out more or less saying, he was the ex-New York Fed chief, said, Jerome Powell should really stick it to the president so he doesn't win re-election. So he just completely blew the narrative that the Fed isn't a political body out of the water. Nice job, Mr. Dudley. Actually, you just gave this president a lot more ammo to rip the Fed to shreds, that you aren't political. The Fed actually had to come out, unprecedented for the Fed to come out and say, yeah, that guy's nuts, and we are apolitical. So a lot of shucking and jiving right now. Great article, a huge article in the Journal today about how Amazon's shipping empire is challenging UPS and FedEx. Predicted this 4 or 5 years ago, folks, when I told you I got a text from a buddy at FedEx who said, hey, man, a buddy of mine leases aircraft, and Amazon just leased 5 of them. I said, that's it. Jeff Bezos is going to build his own. He's going to leech off of Amazon and FedEx and the U.S. Postal Service as long as he can. And then once they catch on to him, he's going to open up his own, right? And that's exactly what he's doing. He's building his own hub in Kentucky, in between Memphis and Louisville, where FedEx and UPS hubs are. And the dude's going to have 70 airplanes in 2 years. Told you this was going to happen, folks. Amazon Air predicted it, and this is freaking fantastic. I love it. Great news for our Amazon position. So a lot of good stuff going on. We had a great 2.5-day trade, a bear call spread on the S&P 500. Expired for max profit yesterday, about $2,000. We have a bear call spread on FXI that's looking good, and we have an iron condor on volatility, right? Let's bring up VXX here, and that one's looking good as well. So look at that. What happened? Let's bring up the VIX here. Somebody say something not nice. So the iron condor on VIX is looking good. Yep, looks like volatility is starting to tick up a little bit as the Dow. Wow, that rally, that rally, as I talked to you, 70 points came out of the Dow. Uh-oh. All right. Let me get going here, guys. I got to get this posted, and I got to be in the room here in about 23 minutes. I'll see and analyze your trade and debrief, and let's figure out what's going on here. Love this. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless. I'll see you later.